Hey everybody! Just wanted to send out another sync contact point and touch base with all of us as a sync team. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet because I know this is a crazy busy time of year. But just wanted to say thank you so much for all you're doing. If you are a sync life coach right now and you've been meeting with your student, thank you so much for all your heart for God and your heart for students and just pouring into them. I just want you to know we're so excited about this and what God's doing through this. So thank you so much for your all your passion that you're pouring into this. If you are a potential life coach or perhaps a new life coach, we just want to also say thank you for being excited about what God is up to in students' lives. We just want to say thank you to you as well. If you're thinking about sync, if you have sync think, you're thinking about it, or perhaps you're just now kind of starting and on the verge of being deployed and connected with your student, we want to say thank you to you as well. Um, Today, I want to just go through a couple things really fast. Like I said, just a quick recap of kind of what we hope to see in sync. And I'm going to break this up into a 4-week cycle. Some of this might be review. But out of a 4-week cycle, for example, on weeks number 1 and week number 3, we really want to encourage life coaches to have FaceTime and some sort of one-on-one encounter with their student. Could be taking them out to lunch and looking at the book Crazy Love Chapter 3 that we are able to provide. That Kaylin has those. It could be going out to the shooting range and talking about guns and God, and if they have any prayer requests that you can just pray for them right there with at the shooting range, or talking about what are they going through, what are they doing for Christmas, how their Thanksgiving was, how things are going at school, if they have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, all those things, just to try to get into their life and have FaceTime. And our goal is for that to be not too short, but maybe 45 minutes to an hour at least on weeks 1 and 3 of a 4-week cycle. Then on the alternate weeks, which would be weeks number 2 and weeks number 4, we want to see some sort of meaningful communication. This could be Skype, it could be FaceTime on your phone, it could be talking over Facebook chat, it could be texting, it could be a phone call, it could be a note or a small letter that actually you send via the postman, the post office, and then ends up in their snail mailbox at their house. And that's a big impacting way to communicate as well, because it's so rare that somebody in high school actually gets something in the mail that it matters to them. So those are just some methods on what that meaningful communication might look like on weeks number 2 and 4. And so some of that's recap, but hopefully that's helpful, kind of what we kind of want to do at Sync in terms of the hangout time and the FaceTime and the impact time that we have together with these students. Last time, I think we had a video chat or a video segment like this. We looked at Matthew chapter 12. And I kind of threw out the question of what can we learn from discipleship? What can we learn from Jesus-style discipleship from Matthew chapter 12, specifically the first chunk of it. And so I'll just try to speed read through this real quick, and we can unpack some of these things, hopefully. Matthew 12, verse 1 says this: At that time, Jesus passed through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick and eat some heads of grain. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, Look, your disciples are doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath. He said to them, Haven't you read what David did when he and those who were with him were hungry? How he entered the house of God, how they ate the sacred bread, which is not lawful for him or for those with him to eat, but only for the priests? Or haven't you read in the law that on the Sabbath the priests in the temple violate the Sabbath and are innocent? But I tell you that something greater than the temple is here! Exclamation point. If you had known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent, for the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. And it goes on in another similar situation there that maybe has some other great discipleship takeaways there as well. But we're going to look at those first few verses there. And this kind of reminds me of an experience that I was able to have with a student in youth group that was kind of unexpected. And in this situation with Jesus and the disciples, it is not a classroom. It's not a room in the temple. They're out in a grain field, a seemingly, insignificant place perhaps. No big spiritual takeaways readily presenting themselves in the grain field to most people. And yet Jesus is out there, and he turns this into a spiritual analogy. He turns it into a lesson. and it's fantastic. He he look, they're hungry and they're starting to eat. Um, and he turns it into a spiritual analogy about how he goes back to the Old Testament. He talks about David. He talks about the priests. He talks about who else do we have here? Um, David's men, and the temple, and he's talking about how the Son of Man is greater than all of these things. Something greater is here. So he turns this into this grain field into a spiritual lesson, a spiritual analogy, and that's life on life discipleship. It's unscripted sometimes. It might be a little bit seemingly messy sometimes, but it's real, it's authentic, and it's just happening in the normal flow of life. It seems like for Jesus and his disciples, they didn't set aside a separate discipleship time once a week from 5:30 to 6:45. Nothing wrong with that. There's a time and a place for that. But here we see Jesus is incorporating discipleship into the normal flow of life, and I think it's great. And for me, I had that chance to do something kind of, obviously those are big shoes to fill, and I got nothing on Jesus' discipleship method at all. But just to try to, follow in his footsteps as how did Jesus make disciples? Maybe we can take notes on that and follow in his footsteps. I had the chance to hang out with the high school student, or actually junior high student, and just invite him to go with me to Walmart to go shopping for the prizes for our youth group talent show, which he did, and he loved it. He helped me pick them out. I gave him some ownership and some freedom there to help us pick, and he got to pull stuff off the shelf and put it in the cart. Like, yeah, I think this would be cool. Let's get this. After that, we ran on some random errand, and he came with me to that. And after that, we went out to McDonald's and we got something to eat and talk about God and talk about what God has been doing in this person's life lately. And he opened up and he shared. And at our talent show that happened a couple days, I think a day later, actually, he got this big smile on his face when I announced that this person had helped me pick out the prizes for our talent show that happens once a year. And so he had ownership, he had real responsibility, and I didn't have to change my schedule really in this case to hang out with this student. I just invited the student to participate with me in what I already had planned for that day and what I already needed to do that day. I had some things I had to do. I was, busy, got some things I needed to do for our youth group, but I invited the student to kind of join in with what I was already planning on doing, and he did, and it created a great discipleship moment. And so I just want to encourage us with that. I know this is a crazy time of year, but maybe be thinking about creative ways that you can invite your student that you're matched up with in sync to just participate with you in the flow of your normal weekly life. Because I think that's where discipleship moments, big impacting discipleship moments happen. That's what Jesus did. It seems like here, he's just with his disciples in the normal flow of life, and he transforms regular, seemingly insignificant everyday events into something that has a spiritual, transcendent takeaway point that talks about the kingdom of God. And elsewhere, we see him walking through the grain fields, talking about how, just like this grain field is ready for harvest, the field is white for the harvest of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And now, just like this field is ready to be harvested, there's lots and lots of people out there that are ready to be harvested for the gospel, that need to hear the good news of Jesus Christ. And he turns a field into a spiritual object that points towards a spiritual truth about the kingdom of God and about evangelism and about the gospel. And so just want to encourage us with that. And to, again, encourage you to just incorporate your student into the normal flow of life of what you do. If you are going to the store, invite them to that. If you're, whatever is on your schedule, think about creative ways. How can I bring my student into this, and not necessarily create a separate hangout time that's maybe a little bit contrived, but how can I incorporate them into the normal flow of life that I'm already doing, and look for those teachable discipleship moments for spiritual impact inside of regular one-on-one, the normal flow of life. So I want to encourage you with that. God bless you guys. I'm cheering you on. Also, be praying for Kaylin. I got to give Kaylin a big shout out for her heart for Sync, and also just everything that she's been doing. So if you have any questions, touch base with her. Shoot her a note about thank you for all her help with Sync. And I'm cheering you guys on. God bless you. Keep in touch. If there's anything we can pray for you about specifically, let us know. God bless and Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.